Kandid shop. We speaking on things you not. Just press play and let it rock. Welcome to the Kandid shop. Whoa, welcome to the Kandid shop. We speaking on things you not. Just press play and let it rock. Welcome to the Kandid shop. Oh, feel like we going through mad things. Gotta keep it real when they choose not. We gon' talk about it when the news drop. Welcome to the show where you know we don't fake this. Keep your opinion to yourself if it don't make sense.
Hey, Podcast Nation. It is your girl, Candidly Kristen, and this is the Kandid Shop, your number one destination for candid conversations. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're a returning listener, welcome back, and thank you so much for your support and tuning in. So on this Everyday Hero Spotlight Chat, Everyday Hero Chats are my fave, I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Khadijah Butler, founder and president of the Craig D. Butler Scholarship Foundation and author of Laying the Foundation Brick by Brick and the CDB Scholarship Monthly Planner. So it is my absolute and distinct pleasure to welcome Khadijah to the Kandid Shop.
Oh, thank you so much, Kristen. I am so excited to be here. I will say on your other podcast, this is how you know you from the hood, you're just like listening to the 50 Cent thing that's going on. I'm not supposed to be enjoying my seventh. I'm like, oh, okay.
Girl, I'm actually going to do an Everyday Hero Spotlight, an author spotlight, and an artist spotlight. So the kid that made that intro for me is like a bonus son to me. He's one of my biological son's best friends. And I was like, Bus, can you do something for me with this, this track? And that's what came out of it. And when he sent it to me, I was like, oh my God, that's fire.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to be interviewing him in the next few weeks because I haven't had him on for an artist spotlight. And he really is a talented young man. Really. So, Khadijah, I mentioned to you already that I am originally from Camden, which is just over the bridge from Philly. Yeah. So I am so excited to be chatting with a sister neighbor doing such amazing work. Really, I know.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, yeah, it's always good, especially, it's crazy. I get some recognition from like local, like Jersey, but for the most part, it's normally like Midwest or down South. So I'm always happy, as you said, like, yeah, it's strange, especially like to be serving the regional area. So I'm always excited. Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into it. So
yes,
if you could share just, however much you're comfortable with sharing of your personal story and the inspiration behind the Craig D. Butler Scholarship Foundation.
Wow. Yeah. So as far as, my trade by day, I am actually a project manager, but I pretty much manage all databases and I create databases for pharmaceutical companies. So it's funny how we were kind of talking about the whole COVID thing. And it wasn't until COVID came out that people was like, because now it's on the news and it's like, oh, the FDA said, the data says, and I'm like, I've been trying to tell you all this is what I've been doing for 17 years now.
Right.
So that's where my personal story is. But as far as the transition with me starting the foundation, I knew at some point I wanted to start a business. But I knew it had to be meaningful. I knew I needed a passion, AKA pain point. And I feel like between the love of my city, the love of my father, and the love of education, I just kind of merged all those three. And it started out with, I felt like at that moment, mentally, I was ready to really start something in my father's name. And that's kind of how it started, as far as also knowing that the city of Philadelphia needed a scholarship that was just specifically for them. So that's kind of how it got started with the foundation.
Okay. Now, are you full-time with the foundation now, or are you still doing project management?
I feel like I got 2 full-time jobs, to be honest.
Right. Yeah.
So, during the day, it's funny because they both are in tandem, me finding ways to give back. So like, I feel like even when I'm gone, these medications, medical devices are going to be here. And I had a part of that. And I'm hoping the same with the foundation.
So I hope so too. So tell me a little bit about the foundation's mission and how it seeks to support the community and young scholars.
Yep. So our mission at the Khadijah Butler Scholarship Foundation really is to redirect the youth's focus from gun violence to education. And that means, number one, African-American excellence just being highlighted, not just the fact that it's bad things in Philadelphia, right? Like, it's like, for me and my family, we look at how can a scholar embody what the Khadijah Butler Scholarship means. So our biggest thing is not just redirecting the youth, but also providing an avenue outside of student loans, outside of, if you are a first generation college student, and saying, if you and I, meaning you and I as a African-American versus any other race, are on the same playing field financially, that you can still get an education regardless of your circumstances.
Right. Okay. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. So talk to me about the foundation's core programs, initiatives, and how they support the educational goals of the people that receive your scholarships.
Yeah. So our core programs is the inaugural scholarship, and we provide two $1,000 scholarships to two African-American high school seniors. We are trying to expand to the regional areas of the Jerseys, of like the Camdens, Trentons, areas in Delaware. If, fingers crossed, we begin to get grants. But that's our core program as far as the inaugural scholarship. But now we're actually doing scholarship workshops. So I've partnered with the 100 Black Men of Philly, where not every Saturday, but every couple of months, we'll go to, it's more of for the parents. So as they're mentoring the young boys, I provide scholarship workshops to the parents. And that for some reason has been very overwhelming. So that's one program. And then the other piece is we do go to the schools. Like, I also partner with Ben Franklin High School. It's a subsidiary of Ben Franklin High School, where it's like the Safe Center. So for those students who, may be struggling or have an area where, they're not getting certain things at home, like, we do provide scholarships for them. So that's kind of where it stops for now. Like, someone was asking me the other day, like, what might be another pillar for me? And I mean, we also go to, we do attend like some of the community events and a lot of the anti-gun violence events as well. Like, we have MLK coming up. Yeah. But I think the next thing that's probably going to come is trying to walk people through what it's going to be like to deal with the defendant that you've, as far as the violence victim, like how you walk through that process.
Okay. Well, how old is the foundation? Like, when did you found it?
So we started in 2020. So it's
okay. Oh, it's a baby. You're doing amazing things for a 3-year-old.
Yes, we are 3 years in. So again, it's interesting how COVID played its role. Like, we started, my father's birthday was January 21st. So we started January 21st, 2020. Then the world shut down in March. So it was a whole pivot. Like, God, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, what are you doing? So it just, it was an interesting, like, kind of change of events, and how things really didn't, like, catapult into, like, the following year.
Right. And I like the parent workshop, because a lot of times parents, all you ever see is take a loan. And they want their kids to go to college, and they don't want you to be hindered by financial lack. So they take out these loans, and before you know it, 4 years later, you're graduating with $100K of debt, and no job. So I love that piece. But say I'm a parent looking for alternative ways to fund my my child's post-high school education. What's the criteria and the selection process for how your scholarship foundation awards scholarships?
Yeah. So the first thing we look at is that you have to be African American. And I say this, certain things are just like the most common thing. But
Yeah.
I'm like wondering, why are we getting people of other races applying? You're like, this again, it's not to exclude, but this is for them,
Right. Yeah.
So it's being an African American descent, having a minimum of a 3.0 GPA.
Okay.
We do look at references as well, makes a big difference. Used to be the whole SAT, ACT scoring, but now that's like a test optional policy with a lot of colleges now. So that's not something we heavily look at. If you do volunteer, not a requirement, but for the most part, all of our scholars thus far, we've had 7 to date, have all volunteer, all have worked part-time. And the essay is a really big piece, and that's a really big topic we talk about at every workshop.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you get any pushback because the scholarship is limited to only people of African American descent?
I won't say pushback, but it doesn't stop people from applying. And I think because on our website, we do say not the African American descent piece, but like we get more pushback from people just sending us things from different cities and states. I find that we get more pushback during the grant process. That has been, for me, it's strange, right? Because they want you to write your grant a specific way.
Right.
But then, especially the city of Philadelphia, how their biggest initiative is, we're trying to stop the gun violence epidemic. And this is a gun violence related foundation.
Yes,
like my father was murdered. So it's like, I don't know what else you want. And so it's odd that they'll say things like, it seems as if you're excluding. So it's tricky. It is.
Yeah, I can imagine. But this is my foundation, and I get to determine, who we award scholarships to, because not for nothing, there's plenty of scholarships out there for other races, other ethnicities. And so what's wrong with us having one specifically for us?
Yeah.
But I can imagine that in a grant, trying to secure grants for the foundation, that likely comes into play.
Yeah, it is. It's very, and I'm like, this is the reason why for me, I'm not going to break my authenticity about what it's for, because someone who has written a planner or, who has compiled scholarships for different races, different cultures, backgrounds, it's out there if you want to give the money, basically. If you want to give it for us, you would. So
yes. Yep. There you go. So right now your scholarships are funded by donations?
It's donations. We do have merchandise based. So anything that we receive for merchandise, we have pretty much every donation platform. I am going to probably announce sometime this week as well. We just got approved for United Way. That takes 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So pretty much any avenue. And we even have like the Walmart Roundup program. So like if you wanted to round up your change, so that's why it's been tricky, because anything else just gets funded directly from us as a family.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we need to work on getting these grants together.
Listen.
And let me tell you something. I have attempted to do a grant application. That's a whole specific niche skill set to do those. Them things are crazy.
Kristen, oh my God.
It just makes you want to throw it across the room like, oh my God.
Yeah, like I quit. I'm done.
Yep.
Like...
No, seriously. They really need to streamline that. It's bad. And some worse than others. It's like, oh my God, you want my left arm? What?
Yes, Kristen.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so listen, I know you talked a little bit about the future for the foundation, but when you dream, like your biggest dream for the foundation, what do you see its impact in the future? And are there anything, besides securing grants that you're working on to get to that dream?
I mean, honestly, I feel like within the next 3 to 5 years, I can definitely see it being regional. I can even see it being national when I see like some of the bigger scholarships, like, what is it, Jack Kent Cook and all these, bigger African-American foundations. I feel like we only need like one shot. And that's normally like how people expand. So I can see it being national. I feel like these other initiatives, like these little pillars, I don't know which one it's going to be yet, but I feel like that's kind of like how God is transitioning me. But these little like workshops and mentorship kind of programs, I feel like one of those are going to just take on a life of its own. So
all it takes is the one yes to negate all the no's, and collaborations, with other groups and organizations is an amazingly powerful thing. The other thing I wanted to ask, and I'm not sure if you mentioned it, the criteria is African-American descent, and this is only for Philadelphia.
Correct.
Am I correct? Okay.
Correct. So you either
right now, because it's going to be bigger than that in no time, but right now.
Yes, right now it's either you go to a Philadelphia school or you are from Philadelphia. So on your application, either one.
All right. So in reading your bio, when we first started connecting, it was evident that your father was a significant part of your life. So if you could just share a memory or life lesson that you carry with you from his direct influence and legacy.
I am definitely my father's child as far as the resilience, as far as the not letting like you dictating your life. Like his biggest thing, especially like for my sister and I, like he was very, very tough on us about, making sure you always had your own, especially like when it comes to like marriage and all these different things. His thing has always been, you do not want to be in a position where you have to wait on a man to function. And I'm talking about he pays for everything. You're like, okay, so I got to go to you for a tampon. Like he just, Kristen, he was like at any given time, that's
God
why he was so tough. You do not want to give that much power to a man, so that if you want to get up and leave for whatever reason, you can. And so that's why it's been, a struggle on my end, because that's just something I don't forget as far as the work ethic piece. It's just in me. And so, it's stuck with me, but it's been a great lesson.
That's a great lesson. My grandmother always said, God bless the child.
Listen.
God is on. Listen. No matter where I am, my aunties is always like, here, take this titty money. I know you got it. I'm like, Lord. And I take it too. This is for you. I'm like, okay, got it.
It's so real though. Oh, man.
All right. So listen, I want to segue a little bit, and I want to talk about your book, which I have in my Amazon cart, by the way.
Oh, no.
Because I'm a support, sometimes supported little. Laying the foundation brick by brick. What motivated you to write that book?
Oh, man. So I fought tooth and nail with like writing that. First of all, I'm like, that's the very first page. I'm like, I did not want to be an author. Point blank, period. I mean, listen, when I tell you it's the around the way Philly type, you're going to hear me in that book. It's like, I didn't want to do it, but it was part of like the foreword. And I was just saying, but like what happened was I was in a magazine, and the guy that was interviewing me, he had just wrote a book and was like, I think you should make this a book. I'm like, why? Like, why would I do that? And so, it wasn't until I had spoke with his publisher that she was making the point that while you're marketing the foundation, there's going to be such an untapped market for people who just genuinely don't know how to start a scholarship foundation, because there isn't a book out there like that, like where you know how to start a foundation and or the differences between the different nonprofits. But I think more than anything, it was definitely a cathartic tool, because as I'm writing, I'm like getting up either late staying up late or getting up early And there were moments when I would just be crying thinking of him. So it was really a healing tool. And I think my publisher was like, this is going to be someone's source of survival. And I've had so much outreach of people who have lost parents or siblings or whoever, like really take to the book for that reason. So.
Okay. I love it. So what was the most rewarding part about the book? And it came after the foundation, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did the process of writing it help you when you went back to the foundation work?
I think writing it and like really writing the steps out was really one of those things that as you're doing something, I'm sure like when you started, anytime you start a business, you're not thinking about like the step by step, your day to day. You're like, how did I even make all of this stuff work?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, wait, I got a book to like write this down, but you're not thinking about it. You're just kind of like going after this goal. And it's like, it is what it is. I'm in it. Now, I will say it has definitely, as far as the impact, made me look at, here you are thinking, I got a whole master's degree. So it's like, my grammar can't possibly be bad. Right. So you like, oh, wait, look, Kristen, I done said the in there about 200,000 times.
Oh my God.
Okay. So it was a life lesson as far as patience, as always.
Yeah.
Learning what that process was like, and that impact actually is what made me self-publish the planner.
I love it. Oh, and so it was self-published. That's always my question when people write, because I think I have maybe 2 books in me, and I'm just unsure about self-published, take it to a publisher. You know what I mean?
Well, the first book was, I do have a publisher for the first book.
Okay.
The planner was self-published.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is that? And that's the CDB Scholarship Monthly Planner. Is that for students or students and parents? And what does that look like, that planner?
Yep. So it's for students and parents. It actually was birthed out of a workshop. And again, workshops was something I didn't want to do. People were like, hey, can you give workshops? And I'm like, why? I'm like,
I have zero time for that.
Because Kristen, honestly, I think when you think about like the everyday, you're kind of like, people have to know where to find scholarships. They have to know like how to write an essay and topics, but you really don't realize like how underestimated that really is. And so I happened to be doing a workshop. This young man came up to me. He was, he didn't qualify for the scholarship, but he was like, hey, my dad knows that there are scholarships out there, but he physically wants something in his hand, like a copy of something. And that's how it started. Like, it's really, so it's a scholarship. It's 150 nationwide scholarships from students from kindergarten to the 12th grade. But overall, it's an organizational tool. Like, it's really to prepare these students to say, when you get in college, your mom is not going to be there. Your dad is not going to be there to remind you to get up, to write an essay, or to, like to put an application packet.
Get to class.
That's what I'm saying. So it's really a twofold kind of planner.
Okay. I love that, because sometimes the things that you might be aware of the steps, but putting them down and setting times and short-term goals and checking it off so you don't miss anything. Because the difference between getting something and not could be missing one community service certificate or something like that. But if you have something you can, tangible, you can hold and touch and highlight and check off, that that's important. I'm a journaler, so I love writing stuff down. Love writing stuff down. Writing it helps it. I can go over it again in my head. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I can refer back to it. So, so lastly, ma'am, what advice do you have for the students, the parents who will hear this podcast, who want to go to college, want to make a difference in their communities and take charge of their education and future? What's your best piece of advice to them?
man, I say just do it. I know it's one of those like Nike things. I know it is. It's really like, but it's interesting because when I look back at like a nonprofit, me running, like it's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like it's not something you ever think about, like I'm going to run a nonprofit. And so if it's something you really want to do, you really just want to find a way to be philanthropic outside of you just donating money to a cause, like just some, cause that isn't of, not that it's not of importance, but I'd say like really just do it. Like you have the tools that are there. This book will help you. Like there's so many resources now that will help you if you really want to make a difference in your community. And you'll realize in your community that there are people, or organizations, there's podcasts like yours or other organizations that want to help propel you to get that out. So,
yeah. And you are a nonprofit, which means that any donations that people make are tax deductible, correct? I
mean, listen, that's the one thing I tell people. Like people spend their money where they want to. You're getting all the money back. So I'm trying to understand what's the problem.
Yes. I love this. And that's my favorite part of doing my return. Charities. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Right.
And not that I do it just for that, but knowing that it is tax deductible is an important piece for some people.
Agreed.
So that is like the end of our formal chat. And I thank you so much for sharing all of that information. But now we get to do the fun part.
Uh-oh.
We get to play 10 candid questions.
Uh-oh.
No heavy lifting, I promise. Just 10 random questions. You just have to answer them candidly. So,
okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Question number 1. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh. All right. This is going to like sound weird. My biggest pet peeve is when people spell my name wrong and it's in an email signature. It is the big, I don't know. It bothers me because I took a management course. And somewhere in a management course, it pretty much was like when people don't make the effort to spell your name and it's physically there, it just feels like a lack of respect. So it's real, especially people who, I sit on the board of oncology. These people that are the nose all the way up. So like it burns my blood. I don't know why. It's so annoying.
And listen, my name is Kristen, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my signature blocks, in everything, it's got an I at the end. But invariably, people always want to make it an E. It's still Kristen, but that's not on my birth certificate, okay?
That's what I'm saying, Kristen. Like, oh my God.
Yes. Take a minute to like seriously it's not that hard to find the correct spelling. Or pronunciation too. I hate that. Like if it's a name that I know I'm going to, just butcher, I will spell it out phonetically, like in a podcast, so I don't mess it up. Cause nobody wants to hear their name on a podcast that's going to be around forever. And it's, pronounced wrong. So,
or at least, like you said, it's the respect piece. Like take the time and ask like, hey, how do I pronounce your name?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. So question number 2, introvert or extrovert?
Oh, introvert all day long. Look, I'm a whole, people say you're only an extrovert like when you like people. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean?
No, I'm only an extrovert when I have to be, like when I do this show. Like people are like, you do a podcast, you must be an extrovert. I'm like, no, y'all don't understand the prep that goes, and I'm not even video.
Right.
They don't understand the introversion. Yes, ma'am. Question number 3, and one of my favorite questions. What's your favorite cuss word?
Oh, Lord. Can I say it on?
Yes, ma'am. This is the Kandid Shop. People always say that. Yeah.
Look, I think shit is probably what it is. And once I heard my nephew repeat it when he was like 4 and blame me, you like, wait, you didn't hear that from me? Wait a minute.
Okay.
Look, he was a whole snitch. You like, no, I didn't. Kristen.
All right, that's okay. Listen, most people say the F-bomb is their favorite, but shit is right up there.
Oh, listen.
My goodness. Question number 4. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Same.
It's something about cats that symbolize single women, that you're going to be single forever. I don't know. Kristen, I don't know. Like, I'm like, no,
Listen,
you're not about to put that on me with the hair rollers. I'll be 60 with the... No.
Here go the funny thing. I'm a Leo. And I'm a dog person all day. Cats get on my nerves. They not no fun.
Oh, my God.
Yep. All right. Question number 5. What's one piece of advice you would give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, I don't want to say just like lean into who you are, because I feel like my mom used to say I knew who I was at that time. Mm-hmm. But I would say don't plan, because I am still a planner. I am very much a planner. I'm a project manager. I'm just who I am, organized. But don't plan, because like the not planning part of my life, I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at, I didn't, because I wanted to be an OBGYN, just like Bill Cosby. I'm not going to talk about that when we do here. Okay. Listen, like, I don't know if it's safe, but like that's the one thing I wanted to do. And then, plans change. I wanted to be an athletic trainer for the Eagles. Plans change. So like thinking about 18-year-old to now, not the worst thing in the world when your plans change. It surely isn't. Sometimes it's the best thing that can happen to you. Yeah. All right. Question 6. Morning person or night owl? Oh, morning. Night, listen, but like, first of all, about the afternoon, my brain, don't even ask me a question. Don't ask me my name. I'm like, I don't read. Like, my everyday job is so heavily based on just being on. Like, about even reading and creating FDA documents. And then now this with the nonprofit, with the government, I can't think straight at night. Forget it. Right. Got it. Same. Question 7. If you had the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you say? Ooh. The undivided attention. They listen just to you. What would you say? Let me think on this one, because I feel like for me, I would have to say something that applies to everybody. So if I'm thinking of that, I would say like love, live, and forgive, because I feel like everyone is going through something with a relationship, a coworker, and like we spend so much time being like caught up in our ego that we don't take the moment to just live in that moment, because I'm a person who knows full well what it's like to lose someone and not to get that time back. And I feel like everybody in this world is dealing with some form of that in some capacity. So I would just probably say just those 3 things. Like, and you probably love that. Someone to, you know what I mean? Like to push you to do it. I absolutely love that. Love, live, forgive. I'm gonna be using that. Like I should put a trademark on it. You sure? Girl, I'll tag you when I use it, but I'm gonna use it. Oh gosh, I love it. Question 8: coffee or tea? Oh, coffee. Look, all day. Kristen, tea. I like tea, but I do. Me, I'm thinking about when I'm sick or when I need to go to bed. Yes. Yep. Or when I'm at a tea party. Yeah. Or something, But otherwise, I'm getting my cup of joe. Yeah. All right. Question 9. What's one question you wish that I had asked you during our chat, and what would your answer have been? Oh, let me think. I don't think it's anything you asked that wasn't, it could just be more just about maybe my father. But I think you did. I think you asked about him, though, pretty much. I know, like you did ask about, the impact that he had. Yeah. But then sometimes, I don't know. I feel like you asked me so many questions already. Nice. So. Well, listen, in all fairness, that question is designed for me.
to learn better interviewing techniques. The best answers I ever hear to that is, nah, you nailed it. You did a pretty good job. You know what I mean? So that really is a way for me to tweak and hone my interviewing skills and make sure that I'm asking the questions that need to be asked. And we're talking about the things you want to talk about. And I almost didn't ask the piece about your dad because not everybody does grief the same. And I didn't know if that was something, and we didn't have any previous discussion. So I wasn't sure if that was something you wanted to talk about.
And Kristen, you're right, because in the one sense, I'm happy about it, especially at the beginning, but then I'm learning as far as the grief piece that I'm still dealing with, that I think people don't realize is that I want to be asked those questions so that I know how to get over them. Like that first year was with the foundation it was so tough. Like it was really hard mentally. And I'm like, I thought I was done with this. I thought I was done grieving this. So it's more of a challenge for me. But like I said, overall, great. Look, I'm laughing the whole time. So I mean, you know what I mean?
Listen, I am always happy to entertain while I'm informing, elevating, and empowering folk. That's the goal.
Yes.
So, all right. Question number 10. For folks out there who will hear this, who are interested in getting involved with or supporting the Craig D. Butler Scholarship Foundation, how can they connect with you and the foundation? Yep. And if they want to, maybe if they're from Philly, if they have a kid that's high school age and they might want to apply for a scholarship.
Oh, yes, most definitely. So definitely visit our website, www.craigdbutlerscholarship.com. We have our merchandise there. We have our scholarship applications there for students to download. We have our donation page where you can donate as little as just your change through, our different programs that we have, or you can make a donation directly through the website. We can be found at local events as well, which we post very often on our social medias, which is CDB Scholarship. And then Twitter, we have CDB Foundation. And then, you can find us or find me in a book, but I'm always tying it to the foundation as well on Amazon. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm gonna read a quote to you by Jackie Robinson. He once said, "A life isn't significant except for its impact on others' lives." And if that is so, then you, ma'am, your life is beyond significant. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you for the work you do. Not everybody can be a frontline boots on the ground kind of person. My lane is kind of putting those people out in front of the people that listen to my show for exposure and awareness. So really, thank you. And thank you for sitting down with me today. You could have been doing anything else because it's beautiful. I appreciate you. And this has been my absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you, Kristen, for all the work you're doing to amplify these voices, because I know it's not as easy, and I'm just as grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to you and to, as you said before, I know you connect with people, but the fact that you're out here amplifying for us, for the culture, I'm so grateful.
Yes. So listen, guys, I know you probably didn't write down all the websites and social and all that because y'all don't never do, but Khadijah and the foundation's contact information with clickable links to the foundation website, and her books is going to be in the show notes. And remember, any donation you make is tax deductible.
That's right.
So go ahead on and round up. You ain't going to notice that 50 cents. Trust me.
That's right.
And listen, guys, do not forget to visit my website at www.thekandidshop.com. That's Kandid with a K. Listen to an episode or 5, drop me a review, sign up for the mailing list, like, follow, share, tell your friends. And until the next time we meet, I want you all to keep it safe, keep it healthy, and keep it candid.